My final media product, a horror film opening, conforms to some of the typical horror genre conventions, but also challenges some of them as well. Our film uses a rocking chair rocking back and forth with no one on it, which is a typical horror film prop. We filmed the rocking chair rocking and also zoomed in on just the legs of the rocking chair to add drama and make the audience feel terrified. We also used diegetic crow sounds at the beginning of our opening scene when the establishing shot of the house is shown. The sound is often used in horror films as it has negative connotations. Most people dislike crows as they are associated with bad luck. This was shown in the film The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock in 1963. We decided to use this sound as we wanted the audience to know from the very beginning that they were watching a horror film and to dislike Ethel's house straight away. The representation we have reinforced in our piece is the Victorian era. The antagonist is a woman in her 40s, dressed in a typical Victorian way, i.e. a long skirt and a cape, and with her hair pinned up in a bun. She is portrayed as being maternal in the way she tends and cares for her dolls, particularly when she says "good night, my darlings" when she leaves the room. This gives the impression she is motherly and caring when in fact she has murdered these girls and turned them into dolls. Another social group we represented in our filming is the dolls. They are all young girls and are the damsel in distresses in the film. They are represented in a passive and submissive way, unmoving and compliant while Ethel tends to them. The representation of the girls fits in well with the way the girls are supposed to behave and look in the Victorian times, i.e. prim, proper and submissive. The target audience for our film is young adults and older teenagers, in particular teenage girls. We decided to give our film rating a 15, as the plot is quite sophisticated and disturbing. We thought that teenage girls would make a good target audience as the characters throughout the film are predominantly female and therefore teenage girls will be able to relate to them more. We attracted our chosen target audience of young adults and teenagers in our opening clip by making it very clear from the start that the film is a horror film. Our establishing shot is of a creepy Victorian house in the dark with background sounds of crows. The target audience of young adults and older teenagers would be interested in our film as they are generally attracted to the horror genre, which is associated with being more mature, sophisticated and frightening than family or children films. Teenagers want to be perceived as grown up and sophisticated and so will be attracted to our horror film. Another reason that our audience may be attracted to our horror film is through Ethel being a strong, powerful woman, so it goes against the stereotype for women in the media. This will encourage teenage girls to watch the film as they will see a woman being portrayed as independent and strong. As our film is quite a low-budget film, with only a small cast and one setting, the house, it is unlikely to attract one of the 6 major film production companies such as Universal Studios. Our proposal and pitch is aimed at attracting a smaller independent film production company which produces lower-budgeted films which do not contain any stars. Film 4 could be a production company we could possibly use for our film. Similarly, a smaller independent distributor would then be licensed to market and distribute our film in the UK. We would hope to receive some funding from the British Film Institute. I think I have progressed and developed my production skills considerably since first filming in preliminary tasks, such as my Swede, Bridge to Terabithia, and my film, The Box, at the beginning of my coursework. I now understand the importance of choosing the correct mise-en-scène for a horror film set in the Victorian era, such as choosing the correct setting for the film, a Victorian house, the right cast, teenage girls to fit the narrative, dressed in Victorian-style costumes, makeup and hairstyles, the importance of correct lighting including flickering candles to increase suspense and drama, and the use of props such as a rocking chair and makeup. When filming, I also learnt the importance of using the best camera shots to add suspense and drama, such as an opening establishing shot. I also used an overhead reverse shot at the back of Ethel's head. Finally, I used a mid-shot and close-up shot of the doll's face to focus on the jump start when the doll suddenly opens her eyes. This helped create a dramatic ending to the opening clip. I have also developed my editing skills considerably, learning how to add non-diegetic sounds such as creepy music, sinister humming, ticking and crow sounds to the film. During this process I have learnt how to use a video camera to take appropriate camera shots to film the initial film scenes. This resulted in a series of clips which later had to be edited to make one continuous scene. This could not be done without editing software, and for this I learnt how to use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit the film. For example, I used the razor tool to cut down some of my clips. For the establishing shot to make it darker and more sinister, I decided to adjust the line which changes the brightness of the clip.